Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, text number 27. Yat karoshi, yadashnashi, yajjuhosi, dadasi yat tapasyasi, kaunteya, tat kurushva, madarpanam. Word for word meaning. Yat, what? Karoshi, you do. Yat, whatever. Ashnasi, you eat. Yat, whatever. Juhosi, you offer. Dadasi, you give away. Yat, whatever. Yat, whatever. Tapasyasi, austerities you perform. Kaunteya, O son of Kunti, that, Kurushva, make, mat, onto me, arpanam, offering. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation: O son of Kunti, all that you do, all that you eat, all that you offer and give away, as well as all austerities you may perform, should be done as an offering unto me. Please repeat this translation. O son of Kunti, all that you do, all that you eat, all that you offer and give away, as well as all austerities that you may perform, should be done as an offering unto me. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Thus, it is the duty of everyone to mold his life in such a way that he will not forget Krishna in any circumstance. Everyone has to work for the maintenance of his body and soul together, and Krishna recommends herein that one should work for him. Everyone has to eat something to live, therefore he should accept the remnants of foodstuff offered to Krishna. Any civilized man has to perform some religious ritualistic ceremonies. Therefore Krishna recommends, do it for me. And this is called Archana. Everyone has a tendency to give something in charity. Krishna says, give it to me. And this means that all surplus money accumulated should be utilized in furthering the Krishna consciousness movement. Nowadays, people are very much inclined to the meditational process, which is not practical in this age. But if anyone practices meditating on Krishna 24 hours by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra round his beads, he is surely the greatest yogi, as substantiated by the 6th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnanajanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschati Deshatarane. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Yat karoshi, yadashnashi, yajjuhosi, dadasi yat tapasyasi, kaunteya, tat kurushva, madarpanam. So, this verse of the Bhagavad Gita, 9.27, in the first line, Srila Prabhupada writes, how to mold our life so as to remember Krishna at every moment of our life. So this is the central point of this verse, that how Krishna should be remembered at every point of life, and how one has to mold all his activities in such a way that he does not forget Krishna. In the Vishnu Purana, there is a verse, Smartavyo Satatam Vishnuhu Vismartavyo na Jatuchit Sarve Vidhi Nishedaha Etayor Eva Kinkaraha. Always remember Vishnu or Krishna and never forget Vishnu or Krishna. And Sarve Vidhi Nishedaha. Vidhi means do's, Nisheda means don'ts. Entire Sanatana Dharma is full of do's and don'ts in our different activities which we perform. So Vishnu Purana says, Sarve Vidhi Nishedaha, all do's and don'ts, their purpose is Etayoho Eva Kinkaraha, they are servants of the first two lines. Smartavyo Satatam Vishnuhu Vismartavyo Najatuchit. So to remember Krishna at every point of life is the purpose of life. As mentioned in Vishnu Purana, and also in other places in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains. So here in this verse, there are 5 things that Krishna mentions. Karoshi, Ashnashi, Juhosi, Dadasi, Tapasyasi. Karoshi, whatever you do. Ashnashi, whatever you eat. Juhosi, whatever you offer. Dadasi, whatever you give in charity. And Tapasyasi, whatever austerities you do. Tat Kurushva, all these things. Madarpanam, it should be done as an offering to me. And Srila Prabhupada goes on to explain each of these aspects in this purport. So first of all, Prabhupada says, everyone has to earn his livelihood. Nobody can be without work. Nobody can avoid work in this world. Nahi tishtati kshanamapi jatu tishtiti akarmakrate. Krishna says, no one can avoid work in this world even for a moment. So even for maintaining oneself in this world, work is extremely important. It is not possible to give up work. So that work, let that such a work be performed for Krishna. In this way, we get connected to Krishna. Then, Ashnashi, everyone has to eat. Nobody can live in this world without eating. So Krishna says, one can offer such foodstuffs unto him and eat. In the previous verse we saw what sort of foodstuffs can be offered. Patram, Pushpam, Phalam, Toyam, Yome, Bhaktya, Prayachati. Foodstuffs of such categories. So eating is very integral to everybody's life. So one can eat after offering the foodstuffs to Krishna. So cooking and offering and then honoring the remnants of such foodstuffs as prasadam. So this offering process also has been made very, very simplified in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Sankirtana movement. So anyway, all of you, those who are visiting our temple, you have the habit of taking prasadam in the temple, foodstuffs offered to the Lord. You can also learn how to offer at home whatever you are cooking and partake them as prasadam. It's a very simple process. So you can be in touch with any of our devotees, how to offer foodstuffs. Even if you can offer a glass of water with some tulsi leaf, Shri Krishna Balaram Ki Jai, every day, and chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, a very, very simple form of offering, and take that little water as offered to Krishna, even that is counted as prasadam. Of course, there are different levels of offering. When we have deities installed in the temple, we have a very elaborate procedure for offering. There are simpler methods of offering. One can offer foodstuffs even to a photo or picture of the Lord. So it's a very simple thing, but the effect is very, very, very powerful. So yadashnashi, whatever one, since everybody has to eat, one can offer such foodstuffs to the Lord and then eat. So yat karoshi yadashnashi, then everyone performs some religious rituals. Krishna says one may perform them for him, for his satisfaction. So this, Prabhupada writes, this is called archana. So the entire Vedic culture, if we see, the entire philosophy of Krishna consciousness is practically enforced in the society through the process of deity worship. Sanatana Dharma means deity worship. There is no question of Sanatana Dharma without deity worship. So this culture has been existing in our country for thousands and thousands of years. In every village, there is always a temple of Vishnu or Krishna and Narayana, and all the residents of the village would perform all their activities. They would perform their day-to-day activities for the pleasure of the deity installed in that particular temple. Whether it is politics or economic development, running the government, whether it is law and order, religious activities, everything that happens in the village happens for the pleasure of the deity in that particular temple, and people used to lead a life which is centered around the temple. In this way, people used to be naturally Krishna conscious in this country, at least. Those who, just by taking birth and taking part in such deity worship, naturally everybody used to become Krishna conscious. Unfortunately, in the last 150 years, this culture of deity worship, people have, sort of forgotten, because they have come away from villages and they have now settled down in modern cities. And in modern cities, the culture is totally different. Life is centered around factories and shopping malls, IMAX theaters, IPL, so many other things. So Smartavyo Sadatam Vishnu, Vishnu Purana says, always remember Krishna. And the modern civilization is constructed in such a way, always forget Krishna. So that is the deviation in the modern civilization. So Prabhupada and Prabhupada's guru, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, the Acharyas in the Gaudiya Sampradaya, they were very, very eager to establish temples in crowded cities, in modern cities. Prabhupada went across the world, New York, London, Tokyo, Paris, all different parts of the world, and established temples of Radha and Krishna, Rukmini and Krishna, where Sankirtana would be performed, and people would get a chance to lead their day-to-day activities centered around the Lord. So Archana Marga. So the sum and substance of Vedic culture is deity worship. In this way, one gets an opportunity to offer something to the Lord, to come and pay his respects to the Lord, then attend some discourses glorifying the Lord. In this way, everybody becomes naturally Krishna conscious. Then, next one, Dadasi. People have a tendency for charity, and such charity can be given to Krishna. And then Prabhupada clarifies what it means, given to Krishna. This means that all surplus money must be given to spread the Krishna consciousness movement. This is a very important point. Tendency for charity is there in everyone. And the best type of charity is to contribute all excess surplus money for propagation of this Krishna consciousness movement. This Krishna consciousness movement is very, very, very essential in human society because it offers the highest perfection of life. These are Srila Prabhupada's words. And in order to spread this Krishna consciousness movement, there are various activities. There is food distribution, there is construction of temples, there is performance of Sankirtana, conducting festivals, and then holding discourses. So many different activities are there. And all such activities require land, capital, labor, funds, all these things. So all surplus money must be donated and contributed to spread this Krishna consciousness movement. Many times, those who are followers of Sanatana Dharma, they don't understand the spirit of preaching because not much of preaching spirit we find except when acharyas descend and take up the preaching work. So sometimes people ask, why is it that we have to go and distribute all this to others? Let people, those who are interested, let them come to the temple. Why we have to take the trouble to go and spread Krishna consciousness? That is because Krishna mentions in the Bhagavad Gita. In the 18th chapter, if we read, after explaining the whole Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna, Krishna says, Yaidam paramam guhyam madbhaktesu abhidasyati. And then the next verse he says, Nachatasman manushyeshu kaschin me priyakrittamaha. So Krishna says, this knowledge, this confidential knowledge, this bhakti yoga, whatever I have spoken to you, O Arjuna, this must be distributed to everyone. Yaidam paramam guhyam, this topmost secret, paramam guhyam, mad bhakteshu abhidasyati. One who explains this supreme secret to the devotees, he comes back to me. And then in the next verse, Krishna says, Nacha tasman manushyeshu kaschin me priyakrittamaha. There is no servant in this whole world dearer to me than the one who takes up this task of spreading Krishna consciousness. So it is Krishna's very strong desire and recommendation that this knowledge of Krishna consciousness must be spread among the whole people. So it is Krishna's injunction. Therefore, so much stress is being given in the Krishna consciousness movement to spread Krishna's message. And we have practically seen anybody who takes part in this preaching activities, who spread in the activities of spreading Krishna consciousness, he makes very rapid advancement in Krishna consciousness. One is people practice Krishna consciousness for their own benefit. They chant the Hare Krishna mantra or they read Bhagavad Gita, they come to the temple, and that is also very good. Over and above this, anybody who takes up this task of spreading this message of Krishna among others, in whatever way he can, in whatever circumstance he may be, he becomes very, very, very dear to Krishna and he makes rapid progress in Krishna consciousness. This we have practically seen. And then, lastly, Srila Prabhupada says, and people are very fond of meditation in the current age, and the best meditation is chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and as declared by Krishna in the last verse of the 6th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. People are very fond of dhyana or meditation. So, after explaining the whole meditation process, dhyana or Ashtanga Yoga, in the end, in the last verse of the 6th chapter, Krishna declares who is the topmost yogi. Yoginam api sarvesham madgatena antaratmana shraddhavan bhajate yomam same yukta tamo mataha. Krishna says, Yoginam api sarvesham, among all yogis, yoginam, sarvesham, the topmost yogi, yoginam api sarvesham, madgatena antaratmana, one who is very intimately connected with me. And shraddhavan, with faith, bhajate yomam, one who worships me, bhajate yomam, saha, such a person, yukta tamo mataha. Mataha, my opinion is that such a person is the topmost yogi. So, that bhajate yomam, shraddhavan bhajate yomam is very, very easily done simply by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So, in this way, if we perform all these activities very sincerely and seriously, one can become very easily Krishna conscious. Now, many times people wonder, if we take up Krishna consciousness very seriously, then what will happen to my livelihood? What will happen to my day-to-day activities? So, Srimad Bhagavatam, in the first canto, there is a very nice verse. Bhagavatam says, Tasyaiva heto prayate kovido na labhyate yad brahmatam upari yadaha tal labhyate dukkavat anyata sukham kalena sarvatra gabhira ramhasa. So Bhagavatam, the translation is, persons who are actually intelligent and philosophically inclined should endeavor only for that purposeful end which is not obtainable even by wandering from the topmost planet down to the lowest planet. As far as happiness derived from sense enjoyment is concerned, it can be obtained automatically in due course of time, just as in course of time we obtain miseries even though we do not desire them. So the logic given in the Bhagavatam is, nobody endeavors for suffering. Nobody goes to the church or the temple or the mosque or performs any work so that he incurs some loss, so that he undergoes some pain and suffering. Nobody does that. But miseries come. Without our asking for, without our endeavoring, miseries come. You see, just like we are seeing this ongoing war between two nations. People were leading their life, normal life was going on. Suddenly one huge boulder has fallen on their head. They did not ask for it, they did not endeavor for it. It has suddenly come upon them. And now they have to face the consequences. So Bhagavatam says, just like without our endeavoring, suffering is coming. Without your endeavoring, your happiness also will come. How is that? Because our present is a result of our past activities. That is the way this entire creation is structured by the Lord. Present is a result of the past, and the future will be a result of the present. In simple words, material sukha and dukkha is already predestined. Whatever activities we have performed in our past life, good and bad, result of that we are enjoying or suffering now. And the very beautiful logic given in the Bhagavatam is, nobody works hard for suffering, but suffering comes. Similarly, our happiness, which is due to us as a result of our past punya, that also will come to us. So there is no need to over-endeavor or be too much in anxiety about one's livelihood. And therefore, one can take up this process of Krishna consciousness very, very, very seriously. Whatever is due to him, whatever he has to get, will automatically come to him because he has already worked for it. And over and above that, there is the Lord's blessing. Because anybody who takes up Krishna consciousness seriously, Krishna says in another place, Yoga Kshemam Vahamyaham. I take care of his welfare. So, one thing is, by one's past punya, whatever has to come to him will anyway come because he has already worked for it. And what is the logic given in the Bhagavatam? Nobody works hard for suffering or loss or pain, but it comes because of past sinful activity. Similarly, by past pious activities or punya, our profit which is entitled to us also will come. So therefore, one can very confidently take up Krishna conscious activities very, very, very seriously in life. And this way, one can make a solution to all problems of life. So, a person need not have this worry at all that what will happen to me if I take up Krishna consciousness seriously. Either we go by this verse of the Bhagavatam or in another place in the Bhagavad Gita that will come in the future in the previous verses. The Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Yoga Kshemam Vahamyam. I personally take care of my devotee who is endeavoring to please or satisfy me by performing different devotional activities. So in this way, we can mold our life so that not to forget Krishna even for a moment. And the best way to mold our life is to simply chant and hear Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Visit the temple regularly where the Sankirtana is going on. In this way, there is constant inspiration and enthusiasm for chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. In this way, we will actually experience real spiritual happiness in life. So with these few, we will stop here. A couple of announcements now.